Hi, my name's Angela Casey, and welcome to Edinburgh Outdoors, the podcast that explores Edinburgh's green spaces and the people in them. Today I'm up in the north of the city in the Trinity and New Haven area, and I'm at Victoria Park on New Haven Road, which is a classic municipal park with a play area, lots of greenery and trees. And I'm going to visit a very surprising garden which has been designed by a designer called Luke Coleman. And it's been put on former bowling greens and is called Drakkar's Drift. And I'm going to meet Luke and find out how it was created, designed and installed.
A little wander around first if you like, and I'll just go and empty this.
Yeah, you go and do that and I'll have a little look around. Hi.
Hello.
I'm just being nosy.
Oh, come in and have a look.
Oh, you're doing coffees. Are you going to have a kiosk or something?
Well, there was the picnic in the park on Sunday and the official opening of the garden, so we just did a pop-up cafe, and the machine's still here. But yeah, it's going to be a cafe, hopefully, so the machine will be staying here. So I've just got it turned on for myself at the moment.
Good idea.
So it's a beautiful building.
Isn't it?
It's
Amazing.
in really good condition. So if we do manage to get the licensing sorted out to open up a cafe, we'll keep as much of the original info as possible, because it just makes it really quirky. Can I get you a coffee?
That would be great. Well, I wasn't expecting a coffee.
Happy days.
So welcome to Edinburgh Outdoors, Luke Coleman.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me, Angela.
Yeah, and I'm really enjoying your garden. It's beautiful.
Thanks so much.
It's really interesting because as I've gone around everywhere I go, I come across disused bowling greens because there are so many.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to see them being used and turned into something else.
Yeah, I think they're doing a great job, and it was really refreshing to see their enthusiasm when I got in touch about my project and my hopes to bring it back to Edinburgh. And immediately the council and the Thriving Green Space team were engaged with the project and really liked the idea of it being for biodiversity as well as for, health and wellness. So they were really bought into the habitat columns and stuff, and yeah, from the get-go, I can't praise them enough.
You did the design and you approached the council, is that right?
Yeah, so I always had ambitions of doing this young designer competition for the RHS. So they have multiple different regional shows, obviously.
Thank
Chelsea.
you very much. That's fantastic. The
Chelsea
service is brilliant. Cheers.
I take no credit for that. Chelsea Flower Show is like the main flagship garden flower show that everybody knows about, and then there's a number of regional shows across the country, and at one of those they have a young designer competition, which is an opportunity for designers under the age of 30 to come up with a concept and a design and submit it. And you essentially then, if you get selected, you get a bursary from the RHS, which goes towards obviously the build of the garden, which depending on how ambitious is, it costs quite a lot to do. Sponsorship yourself, like separately, self-funded or goods in kind or private sponsorship. So I went down that route and be as ambitious as possible with the design and then try and find the funding later down the line. So it just required a lot of belief in the project and kind of determination to secure the funding in the end. And Edinburgh Council were the ones who actually ended up being most keen to do so, which I was surprised by, because initially I'd gone down a private funnel, just sort of trying to target like whisky companies and private companies that might be aligned with the brief and the vision. And then it wasn't until later where I thought about maybe contacting the council and see what they had to say. The initiative's called Edinburgh Nature Network, and it's about these little pockets individually obviously have an impact isolated. If you think about the connectivity across the city and how the animals and insects and things are able to move between, the more we have, the better it's going to be. I only live 10 minutes up the road, so I'll stay involved. We have a WhatsApp group with volunteers and stuff to help with gardening. And I'm a gardener as well as a designer, and luckily it is a really nice community here and there is lots of people involved. So it's about really trying to maintain a balance in a planting like this as opposed to keeping it static. But then of course there's general maintenance jobs, just like keeping it watered and cutting back sort of snap branches and deadheading and things like that. Gardens are always an ongoing process, and the implementation's only ever the start of it.
When did you plant most of it?
So this was planted in March, so 3 months ago, and everything had been stored over winter in one of the council nurseries, the Inch Park Nursery. After the show, everything was sort of boxed up and taken there and left outside basically over winter. But and then I went back in January, February, just cut everything back, rebox it, and then it got delivered here. And then with the help of an amazing group of volunteers over a couple of days, I think we had about 50 volunteers come to help plant, while I ran around like a maniac placing each and every plant out individually. I think there's about 15 100 herbaceous perennials here.
I want to know, how did you get into gardening? What inspired you?
So I guess the old cliche, it's kind of like I've always loved the outdoors. I was always a very outdoorsy child. I was fortunate to live down a country lane which was surrounded by farmers' fields, but then also meadows that were filled with wildflowers, and then we had a woodland and a river as well that ran through, and I spent most of my childhood sort of outside whenever possible. It's not really knowing subconsciously that I was growing a lifelong passion for plants, really.
Obviously it wasn't Edinburgh.
No.
So where was that?
So I grew up in Woking in Surrey. It was a nice place to grow up. As I said, particularly the lane that I grew up down was full of wildlife and full of nature. And then it wasn't until I left college at 18, 19 and started to look for work. I was working in hospitality for about a year or so, and then a friend of mine at the time, their mum was a garden designer, and she just needed a hand on one of their projects. So I said I would do so, and almost immediately, the first day or the end of that first week, I just had this sort of job satisfaction that I'd not felt before, just sort of turning this place from a piece of soil into, a garden with lawn and flowers. So off I went basically and started my first soft landscaping business, which was installing planting schemes for other designers, so turfing, barking, planting, and then subsequently taking on maintenance as well, so looking after these gardens, and then decided I wanted to learn more. And that's when I found out about the design course at the Eden Project in Cornwall, and I applied for a HND in garden design. So I went there with sort of a good knowledge in plants and garden maintenance, so really went there to further that knowledge, but really get my teeth stuck into design and into construction and into spatial arrangement and how to create the full picture. And the Eden Project was a fantastic place to do that.
So can you walk me around it and show me what your thinking is? And I'm interested in these, I know they're meant to be basalt columns, so do you want to just go for a wander?
Yeah, sure. So the original design for the show garden, for the RHS, you have to come up with a brief and a narrative for the garden, so a story to tell through the design. And for me it was kind of inspired initially by a trip to the Isle of Staffa on the west coast, and I try to look to nature to inspire a lot of design that I do and try and bring that wonderment into smaller spaces. So obviously the Isle of Staffa has these amazing hexagonal basalt cliffs which are quite breathtaking as you arrive on the boat. So that was always in the back of my mind, and then as I did a bit more research, drew the historical connection between Scotland and Scandinavia and thought that that's a really nice sort of theme to run with for the garden. So that's actually what inspired these columns that we're looking at here. In the show garden actually formed the boundary, but rather than them being just sculptural, I wanted them to serve a purpose for biodiversity as well. So I don't know if you can see the holes that are in them, and there's actually 6,000 holes across these 12 columns, which Ross at RG Fabrication did a fantastic job of making all of these. So the holes are essentially different sizes for different insects and invertebrates, and what they're essentially trying to do is mimic sort of exposed cliff faces. So inside the column is a number of different recycled substrates, so really a variety of different materials, again creating different environments and habitats for the insects that will seek refuge. So the idea is that we've got all of this kind of food source, pollen and nectar, which people are very good at providing in their gardens. Everyone's good at providing the flowers, but sometimes I think it's overlooked the habitat where these insects need to nest and to live. So essentially they're just very fancy bug hotels, I guess.
I think they're great. So when you designed the garden for the RHS and these were the boundary, clearly they're not boundaries now. Did you have two designs in your head, or did you just go with the first one and then think about it?
Yeah, so I went with the first. The first design was all about that to begin with, and then I had to redesign it to be fit for purpose. So the original show garden was actually only 100 square metres.
Yeah, I saw that. It was quite small,
which is literally the corner of this green. I think it's about, this green here is about 1,200 square metres or so. But the nature of the show gardens is we plant really, really dense, so about 35 plants a square metre. That gives that sort of variety in size and maturity, but ultimately creates this picture that the garden's been there, for much longer than it has. But obviously in a normal garden setting, we plant, depending on the style of planting, 6 to 8 plants per square metre.
So when you do those show gardens, this is my daft lassie question that I'm quite interested in, all those plants that they've got, that you have planted out in the bed, they're actually just in pots, and then you put something over the top of the pots, do you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So there's quite a lot of smoke and mirrors in the show
Yeah.
garden. So these herbaceous plants that you see here were grown by an amazing nursery in Yorkshire called Cliffbank Nursery. So they were all contract grown specifically for the show garden.
Yeah. And they have to get them so that they're at a certain point for the date of the garden, don't they?
I think they deserve more credit, the nurseries, for the amount of skill and effort it takes to, as you say, get the plants in such perfect shape for that particular week of the year.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm really enjoying is seeing people coming to see it and looking round.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Isn't that lovely?
Particularly for me, seeing the energy that it brings the young people as well. Like, as soon as the kids come in here, they start running around, jumping on the boulders, running across the decks.
Oh, the boulders are fantastic. I love the boulders. How do you actually move a garden? How do you do it? The physical thing. I suppose now we know the plants are in pots, so you lift the pots and carry those. But you've got to take these away. Did these have planting in them at the
Yeah, they
show?
did. Yeah. And they were also filled at the show. And then we emptied them, yeah. So the main contractor for the original show garden, again, who I have to big up, fantastic contractor called Ampersand. So the construction team, basically, responsible for building all the hard landscaping that you saw at the show, and then breaking it all down at the end and packaging it up, putting it on an Arctic lorry and bringing it here. So all of the hard elements, so the boulders, the steel columns, the decks, they also got stored at Inch in the storage at the back.
So you got these boulders to go into the garden, and then they were put on the lorry and brought...
Yeah.
Where did you get the boulders from?
Well, the boulders were actually not put onto the same lorry as the columns and the decks. They were picked up by the supplier of the boulders, which is a CED, which is a stone supplier up in Stirlingshire way.
So they're Scottish boulders?
They are. So they picked them up and then dropped them at the Inch Park Nursery.
Because I love that one.
The Scottish boulder. Did you notice the detail on it?
I did. It was really nice.
The Saltire flag.
Oh no, I didn't see the Saltire flag.
Well, this is the magic touch.
These are, you can imagine people sitting here all chatting and...
Yeah, and it was really important to leave spaces for wheelchairs and things as well. So this garden's all about inclusivity and it being accessible.
Oh yeah, look at that!
That's a natural granite vein that runs through the boulder, creating this.
So it got all put into the lorry.
Yep.
Lorries. All brought up here, sat at Inch.
Yep.
And then when did you stop here on site?
Started here in February. So again, worked with another contractor to actually build it here.
Yeah.
A contractor called P1. About 6 weeks in the meantime, I was preparing the plants and then making sure everything was ready to get planted out once the construction was done.
And that was your new plan that you created. And when you had the original garden, you knew already that it was going to come here, did you?
I knew that it was coming back here to Edinburgh, but we were still deciding the exact site. So we had about 3 different sites, so we decided that here at Victoria Park was the right place for it. And then once that site was confirmed, it was back to the drawing board with, in my mind, knowing the palette of plants that I had, knowing the elements of the hard landscaping that I had, but in a totally new environment.
Yeah.
It was a different challenge, but really fun. So I wanted to try and keep the essence of the original show garden, that Scottish Scandinavian vibe, but make it suitable for public setting. So the brief for the original show garden was it was essentially a wellness space for a couple, so it needed to be used by a couple in a private space.
Oh right, okay.
So the original garden had a sauna and a plunge pool.
Oh yes, it did.
Which was homage to the Scandinavian wellness traditions, and I've had have to apologise that the sauna and plunge pool didn't make it into the final design.
I did see that and think, was it going to be here? But I thought you probably wouldn't.
No, and then the Scottish elements of the design were the trees and the boulders. So the trees are sort of symbolic of the Scottish Highlands, the pines, the sorbus, the birches. And then the boulders, which we're sitting at now, forming this communal gathering space. These boulders actually were part of a rocky cascade and a stream in the show garden. So they were built up and had a waterfall running down and then a stream that ran through under the boardwalk into the plunge pool, a kind of nod again to the Scottish Highlands. And then the twist on the whole design was the planting. So if you're familiar at all with Scandinavian design, it's often very muted in colour palette, planting-wise. It's very textural, very green, whereas I wanted the garden to be vibrant and full of colour. But everything here is resilient and tolerant to the changing climate, and that doesn't just mean the longer spells of heat that we're having. It's also considering the increased amount of water that's falling in intense periods. So stuff that's both tolerant of being damp but also can be dried out.
You must be really pleased that the site it ended up in was so close to you and home, because this must feel like not your baby, but this must feel like it's yours,
Yeah, my baby, you could definitely say that. It was, really couldn't have worked out better in the end, really. It was a series of fortunate events, stars aligning, if you want to say, that brought it to this point, and a lot of people involved along the way to get it to this point. And it still feels like only the start of its journey, but also the end of part of the journey, which was the whole show garden experience.
Tell me some of the plants we've got here. What have you used and what do you love?
Of course, I love it all. But yeah, there's a real mixture here of sort of wild plants and also cultivated too. Obviously, the star at the moment is the Geum Totally Tangerine, which I'm sure most people are familiar with. It's a hard-working plant. And then a few different varieties of Sanguisorba in here as well. And this might be the lilac squirrel. And then Salvia nemorosa, Caradonna, which is giving these drifts of purple through the space and absolutely loved by the bees.
Yeah, it's covered in bees, isn't it?
Really long flowering period from May all the way through to August. Cirsium, giving that sort of nice, more natural effect. So I tried to use a variety of flower shapes when designing plantings. It's important to think about different shapes of flowers for different types of pollinators. Believe it or not, I don't really think about colour when I'm designing planting. It's more about habitat and ecosystem. So trying to design a community of plants that coexist together.
It's great that these are a seat height, but also kids can run on them.
Yeah, and that little boulder there to aid them leaping up.
Oh, yeah. Yes, perfect. It's really nice.
The zigzag deck over there, I had even lower so that they can just hop up on their way in, and I've noticed almost every kid, as soon as they come in, will jump on the zigzag and run across the boardwalk. So
well, you do, don't you?
The design is working in that sense.
So who are the volunteers who've been helping? Where have they come from?
All over the city, really. A large community from here in Newhaven. We had people from all over coming to help out.
Well, it's a nice thing to do. A nice opportunity to work with someone like you doing it.
Yeah, it's a real sense of movement.
Here we come. We're going to do the zigzag now.
Yeah.
Here she goes.
It's not staged, I promise.
So what are you going to do next, now you've done this?
Continue the work, really.
Yeah.
So I'm really passionate about public spaces, for sure. It was a dream to sort of create this and design this for the community.
Because you do private work. You've got a business, haven't you?
Yeah. And then exactly that. So I have my own private company that designs and installs gardens, and then offers soft, specialised plant care as well afterwards. So the idea really is to design more gardens like this across the city. Because, I think as well as the importance of the public space, we all have responsibilities in our own gardens as well to make sure that we're providing and giving for wildlife, as well as creating spaces that are nice for us to enjoy. How
difficult is it to build gardens which you think are going to cope with climate change in the future? Because obviously we hope this will be here for some time.
Mm-hmm. It's difficult, and it's very site specific, I suppose. So it's, for me, trying to work with the conditions of the site and not trying to fight too much against it. So if you have a garden that is naturally shady and sits quite boggy and wet, then let's design a garden that's going to complement those conditions. So you choose the right plants, choose the right space to put your seating, and work with nature rather than against it. There's different methods and techniques and ways, as I said, to design in ways to sort of capture water, to make sure we're using more permeable surfaces rather than hard. That's the challenge that makes the work important, and also it keeps the job, fun and exciting. The piece of driftwood there, that came from Long Nidri, actually.
It came from Long Nidri? Oh, on the beach?
Yeah. Because the garden was called Drakkar's Drift. So Drakkar being the Viking longship with the dragon head at the front, and then drift, a nod to it. The Drakkar drifting through the sea because that's what tied this all together, was the idea that the Isle of Staffa would have been a landmark for the Vikings in the 8th century. So I like the idea of them arriving on the west coast of Scotland. First thing they see are these basalt columns. So yeah, that piece of wood came to the show, but actually never made it into the final garden. It sat beside the garden, but nice to see it now embedded into this landscape.
It's great.
Often people who have smaller spaces think, oh, they can't have a garden, but it's not true. And also in smaller spaces they think, oh, we can only use small plants, or when actually to get the most out of a small space you want to use bigger plants, and you want to make it feel larger than life, and actually that's going to make the space feel bigger rather than small. So that's where design comes into it, is those sort of little tricks to make a space feel like a garden and a place that you want to spend time in. All about scale and proportion.
For the benefit of people listening, and you probably don't want to talk about it, but you will, just tell me what the awards were that you won.
So it was a clean sweep, to be honest. We won the Young Designer competition, which was great. It was a great competition. The other 2 gardens were fantastic. The other 2 designers, who are now friends of mine. There's a great camaraderie in the shows when you're sort of spending that intense 11 days on site building these gardens, and of course things aren't always going to plan, so you look to each other for advice and support when you need it. So yeah, the Young Designer overall title we won a gold medal, which is the highest medal that we could have won. Best Construction, which is another separate award awarded by the judges. That award's for Ampersand, the contractors of the garden, the ones who built it all, and the sauna company as well, Hartwood. They make these amazing handmade saunas in the north of Wales, and they provided the sauna for the garden.
Did the sauna that they put in actually work?
Yeah, we used it. Yeah, it worked. Yeah, we fired.
So you had a sauna.
We fired it up. Also, we had a fire pit in the garden as well, which you can see just over there now, is repurposed as an emerald pond, so it fills up with water when it's super wet, but it's got a small drainage hole, so in dry spells like this, it's starting to lose water. But we even fired that up the day before judging, because it's all about making the gardens, as I said, feel like they're being used, as well as they have to. It's a bit of a juxtaposition, because they have to look immaculate in one sense, but also you get awarded on the fact that the wood in the fire's been charred, and there's a sauna robe hanging up on the peg outside, and just those little cues to this you can imagine this space being used.
They're meticulous then, aren't they?
The judging's very meticulous.
Yeah. So as a result of doing it and having that garden, do you think you'll be doing another garden next year at some other show? Do you think you'll do one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, of course. It's a bucket list thing to do a Chelsea show garden, for sure. I would, yeah. If there's any sponsors out there who are wanting to showcase at Chelsea, then I'm ready to do so. But yeah, I would love to do Chelsea, but for me it's got to be for a good cause and for a good purpose, telling a good story or message, rather than it just being a sort of vanity project, I suppose.
Yeah. So do you get a big buzz from doing it? I mean, I know you said there were these 11 stressful days and everything, but when it's done, do you get a sort of...
Yeah, huge buzz. It's an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
That was the last award I must mention.
Yeah.
The People's Choice Award. So it was a gold medal, Best Construction, Young Designer, and then the People's Choice, which is voted for by the people visiting the show. So to me, that was the most valuable. That's really
nice, isn't it? You do want that. In a way, also seeing the people today just enjoying it and loving the space, that's an award too, isn't it?
Yeah, and when the visitors came to see it at the show, even that was justifying to me, building these gardens. And the feedback was just like, I had people genuinely in tears at the planting coming over and just saying, I was having a really rubbish day, a really rubbish week, come over and seen this garden and planting, and it's just... completely snapped me out of it, and thank you so much for doing this, which again is just quite remarkable, the impact that it can have. And even I was a little bit taken back in the moment, but it's the power of nature, which is innate within us all.
Yeah, I really like the way that you've got the sort of open gravelly bits that people can walk around, but then we've got a nice bit of wind, so there's this lovely rustle of vegetation all the time. It's nice.
Yeah, so that was kind of the design thinking, was trying to stick to the original geometry and shape language of the original design, make it accessible and usable to the general public and the community, but also try and create little pockets where you feel enclosed, and hugged by the planting.
You're going on the rock?
Oh no.
Oh no.
What are you doing the podcast?
So I have a podcast called Edinburgh Outdoors, and we're here to look at this garden which Luke's designed.
Is it your design?
Yes,
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you,
It's
thank
so
you.
beautiful.
Hey, means a lot. Yeah, we're very pleased with how it's turning out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really gorgeous. It's going to look after it.
It's community-led gardening, so we try and run sessions like fortnightly. Obviously, no formal qualifications or skills required. It's just
Yeah.
a bit of willingness to come and get your hands dirty. Really, are you local around?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, and I love gardening. So
well.
yeah, so I'll be delighted.
Yeah, if you wanted to join the WhatsApp group.
There we go.
And then Miranda is the one who coordinates most of the sessions and things, but she'll put posts in about watering sessions and days that people are going to come down. But there's food and drinks, snacks and drinks provided.
They're going to open a cafe.
Is there going to be a cafe?
Yeah, he says he's waiting to get the licence, wasn't he, or something?
I think it's funding. I think to get it.
Get it going.
Oh, this is great.
Really, really long, and it's such a gift to have it here on our doorstep.
Yeah. Bringing communities together, the gardening sessions and things like that. It's like people are meeting new people and all with a shared passion for the plants and the outdoors.
So anyone can come down here and visit. They can just come into the park.
I should mention the benches. The beautiful Scottish oak benches, handcrafted by Field and Thorn. Those here, which I think are quite inviting and very nice to sit on.
So is your business local?
Yeah, I'm local. I'm here in Edinburgh, and if anybody has a garden, doesn't matter how big or small, has a project that they want to undertake, then I'd love to hear from them. Everything ranging from planting design, designing borders, just sort of revitalising what's already there, to full redesign, totally reimagining the space. We can get as creative as the mind allows, and then also aftercare as well.
So at the end of every podcast, I ask some questions which you might remember. What does the outdoors mean to you?
Everything. Without it, we're nothing. I mean, the outdoors is always where I've sought refuge in any chaotic periods of life. I've always looked to the outdoors to sort of find a little bit of comfort and reassurance, whether that be a walk on the beach barefoot or a trip into the woodlands. I just find that a connection to nature is vital to navigating quite a chaotic little world.
Yeah. Well, you've got a nice job. You can be outside a lot.
Yeah, although the irony is I'm spending more time inside on computers now and designing, which is where I want to be, so I'm grateful. But I'm also grateful now for the days I am outside like this in the garden, even more so.
I've really enjoyed seeing the people coming around and looking at it. It's really nice. And has there ever been a time when the outdoors has really helped you?
Again, I think maybe now a common response, but definitely during the pandemic. I'd just gone to Cornwall to start studying garden design when it all hit the fan. But in a sense, I was privileged to be where I was by the coast in Newquay at the time. Everything sort of shut down and went silent because it meant the beaches were also quiet, and I just had the ability to be able to go out and literally walk for hours. Like I'd go out in the morning and come back late in the afternoon for dinner and just walk along the rugged coastline for 5, 6, 7 hours, just observing and breathing and letting the time pass. And I think without that access to nature, I would have found it a lot more difficult. I know people who were cooped up in flats in city centres and were finding it very intense, and people were suddenly realising the need to be outdoors even more so.
And the final question, in or around Edinburgh, where's your favourite outdoor space?
Good question. I mean, this one, obviously.
Yes. Everyone always says the one they're in.
I mean, another obvious one, Edinburgh Botanics is a fantastic resource and always a really nice place to go and visit. A woodland near Craigmillar Castle, I like the variety of habitat there, how you've got that woodland, but then it also opens out into the sort of more grassland. And it's usually quite quiet there as well. So and maybe less frequently visited than the typical spots. But Craigmillar Castle area.
Yes, nice. Do you know what I was going to ask you, actually, completely separate? I saw that thing on social media, you said you'd had some racism.
Yeah, it was...
and it must be so frightening.
It was, and particularly the timing of it, having read the news that morning of the knife attacks that happened on Leith Walk. And then, it just so happened that evening, leaving the house with my friends, to go out, somebody came by and decided to ask me a series of questions that were obviously leading to the abuse. He tried to get a little bit physical as well, but luckily there was enough of us to sort of diffuse the situation before it got out of hand. I mean, the guy was quite intoxicated and drunk, but it's not an excuse.
No, it's not an excuse.
And the words that he used were definitely, it was racially charged, targeted at me, who was the only sort of, person of colour out of the group of 5.
Yeah.
Even though, our backgrounds were similar. One of them was my cousin, the other one who grew up in the same town as me. He seemed to only want to tell me to fuck off back to where I come from, and I'm not welcome here, and that, all these things which, fortunately, I must say I have not experienced here.
No.
Having lived in Edinburgh for almost 5 years, it's always felt very safe and welcoming. However, that happened, and it triggered a lot of sort of past emotions in me, having experienced racism for as long as I can remember. In sort of everywhere I've lived, at some point someone wants to say something to do with the way I look. And then the social media post, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do that, but I'm sort of at an age now where I feel that I don't feel the need to want to be silent about these experiences, and if it helps one person or makes one person know that they're not alone, then it was worth it, because it's obviously quite an uncomfortable thing to speak about, which means often people just don't, but I'm sort of trying to take the approach of being more honest now, and spreading awareness, and trying to get people to stick together and to call people out for this type of behaviour, which will hopefully put them off in the future.
You hope so, don't you?
We shall see.
Yeah, whether it will, I don't know.
No, and with such polarising politics and whatnot going on, it's quite frightening.
It's so shocking, isn't it? Well, thank you very much. I've really enjoyed seeing the garden.
No, it's been a pleasure, and nice to talk it through with you. I've enjoyed the conversation. It's good to...
It's been good, and congratulations on your awards as well.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
This is the real award.
I think it is. I love the design and the look, and I love the wind blowing through. It all ties together. It's wonderful.
Take care. Enjoy the day.
Thanks, Luke. Bye. What a fantastic garden. And what a really interesting guy. I really enjoyed that. And as always, thank you for listening to Edinburgh Outdoors. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please make sure that you rate it or review it, and don't forget to tell your friends about it too. And if you know of an outdoor space in or around Edinburgh that might like to be featured, please get in touch.